And you're on the air with Mercury's Cast. I'm your host, Carl, and my co host, the lovely Travis Montgomery. Say hi, Travis.
What's happening, guys?
He's been rehearsing that all day. Today's show is going to be a bit of a doozy. You're not allowed to record this. Today's show is going to be a little bit of a doozy. We got a lot of different subjects. None of them are too politically charged, so it's going to be a fun one in that regard. And we got a little science segment. It's not really a tech segment, but it's a science tech segment.
Ooh, I love
So
doobies.
doobies. I that's I said doozy.
Oh,
Doozy,
doozy.
sir.
Yeah, I want that too. I'm sorry.
Okay. So our first subject of the evening is ice. Now, Travis, why don't you tell us about ice? What you know about it, not the
Well,
immigration
ice,
people.
it stops people at the border.
Wrong ice.
Oh, wrong ice. No, the cold stuff. Yeah, there's a different type of ice that people don't know about. It's called ice too, and it's pretty cool. Why
Yeah.
don't you tell them the difference between the ice that comes out of the refrigerator and the ice that is way cooler than that?
Chemically, there isn't one. Molecularly, there is.
The temperature is cooler too. Huh?
Which maybe, um, which I might have butchered that a little bit because I'm not sure if I think molecular changes are considered chemical, but okay. So what the deal is ice in its natural state is a very disorganized crystal structure. Um, what what's bad about that and good about it at the same time is that because it's so inefficient in the way that it stacks the structure, it ends up being less dense than its liquid form, being one of very few, if not the only thing in nature that in its solid state is less dense than in its liquid state. However, when subjected to enough pressure, the the structure ends up becoming far more efficient and ends up being as dense, if not more dense, than the liquid state, which makes it normal. There's another example of this in geology, and that's that the crust floats over the liquid mantle of the Earth, and it has a lot to do with pressure and the bonds that are found, the chemical and molecular bonds. So it's the same concept, but ice is really cool in that it takes a lot of pressure to turn a little bit of ice into ice too. Before the show, we were going over the numbers, and it's roughly 30,000 pounds per square inch to turn ice into ice too. For reference, if you're 100 meters underwater, you're under, I think the pounds per square inch, I think that's like 10. That's 10 atmospheres. And we're talking 2,000 atmospheres to turn this stuff into ice too. I just thought it was interesting because most people, when they think of, the molecular structure of things or the states of matter, they just think, solid, liquid, gas, and then plasma if they're a little bit better versed. But they don't think that there are multiple stages to things. But there are numerous compounds in nature that show us that that's not true. Take helium, for instance. Helium, we can get it as cold as we want, but it won't turn into a solid for us. Its molecular movement will slow to zero, and it'll still be a liquid. It's what's known as a superfluid. It's really interesting stuff. So I thought that would be a good segment for us. What do you think, Travis?
I think that it's very appropriate right now, and I'm not sure how it ties into the glaciers, and I'm sure there's some ice too under there.
I doubt it.
Well, then where can we find ice too?
We can find it in outer space. Supposedly some moons of other planets. I can look this up.
So, are we able to make this on Earth anywhere? Because
we can make it. Okay. It's thought that the cores of icy moons like Jupiter's Ganymede might be made of ice too. So,
but we've also talked about there being different types of ice, not just you said there was like 12 different stages of ice.
that 16 or 17.
So what's the blue ice that's in the glaciers? Is that just
That's
regular?
just regular ice. That's just
Regular.
really, really pure ice, and it's the way the light plays off. It's the same thing with the atmosphere, how light diffuses over distance.
Because to me, that ice looks cold. Like it's going to be
typically,
colder than
typically the frequencies of light, light is radiation. The frequencies that are blue tend to diffuse a lot quicker than the reds and the, so basically those frequencies diffuse a lot quicker, so they get dispersed in the atmosphere, and that's why we see them. Our eyes don't really have cones that can really perceive the actual color of the atmosphere, so our eyes see the blue that's diffused in the atmosphere.
So the eagles must look at the atmosphere and be like, "Whoa, man,
other
trip."
Other animals that have better eyes than us, or more advanced eyes than us, probably do see the sky as a different color.
You know what? My eyes have a lot of cones in them, and I would just watch your step.
They're huge. They're going to be huge.
It's going to be huge.
Huge. Oh, Ivanka. Oh wait, shit. It wasn't Ivanka. Supposed to be Melania. The Ivanka thing just takes it to a gross new level.
Them sweet lips.
So, anyways, Ganymede is the largest and most massive moon of Jupiter, and they think that its core is made of this stuff. So,
start. Say that again. Rewind about 5 seconds.
Ganymede, which is the largest and most massive moon of Jupiter, is believed to have a core made of ice 2. Ice 2 is actually more dense than ice 3. So,
what would this look like if we were to see it?
It'd look like ice.
Look like normal ice?
Yeah, it would just look like ice.
Would it be colder than normal ice?
To get it to be that way, you'd have to keep it at the temperature of liquid oxygen. So, yeah. Yeah, it would have to be colder. It'd have to be at room temperature. It would definitely break back down into ice.
Here we are walking around, in our normal lives, thinking that there's ice, there's water, and there's steam, vapor, and come to find out there's more than one kind of ice. It's
a whole new world, a whole new place. I never knew.
Yeah.
And copyright strike.
It's a Disney film.
Okay, well, bring it into Disney. Let's discuss the Slant Supreme Court case.
Oh, good Lord.
Anyone? Milan, anyone? Anyone who's following the news might have seen that, at least as a recent or current event, at least when we're recording this. 3 months from now, when it's actually posted, may not be the case. But what had happened was there's this Asian American rock band that called themselves the Slants, and they encountered issues with their copywriting because their name is, it's considered a racist, word, slants.
The Knuckle Draggers?
No, slants.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Now I've said it twice. People are going to think I'm filled with hate towards Asians.
I didn't even get it the first time.
Because the eyes. Anyways,
but
the Supreme Court has ruled that the First Amendment takes precedent over potentially offending people, and that is surprising to me. But what it means in the larger picture of things, when Supreme Court rulings are made, they're not made without deliberation. And by setting that precedent, now it opens up a new can of worms. Like maybe the Redskins will be able to defend their copyright now. Because, yeah, it's considered a hateful term, but it's protected under the First Amendment, according to the Supreme Court.
Well, I've talked to two people that can be considered Native American, which I have a little bit of problem with that term. But I mean, that's how we identify them, and that's fine. Anyways,
I just want to point out to the audience, really quick, I just want to point out to the audience, for once Travis was right, and I should have refrigerated the fight milk. It is getting more putrid by the moment.
Oh, and by the way, let's just cut into this segment real quick and slide in a little happy birthday for our host of the night,
Travis Montgomery.
Alexander.
Travis Montgomery.
He's drinking fight milk.
Fight milk.
Anybody doesn't know what fight milk, he's really drinking it, and go fucking look it up because he's a trooper for that. Just go put it in the freezer for a little bit.
Nah, I'm a trooper. Salmonella or bust.
That's awesome.
No sleep till salmonella for the Beastie Boys fans.
So, anyways, I've asked a couple people if that was offensive to them personally, and granted, my personal experience does not make it a universal truth. Yes, they're not really they don't really mind, and most of the people that are Native Americans, they're not really concerned about it. At least the ones that I've talked to, although there is a very vocal minority.
Well,
and most Native Americans are probably just trying to go about their life and would like people to stop them asking.
A majority of opinions are based on anecdote, which is why you'll often see statistics ignored and personal experiences set to a higher level. So in this case, it may not bother us. It might bother other people, but the anecdotes in my case, the few people I've talked to about it, they take pride in the name. They see it as representation of their culture in, a mass sporting event. There's a team where their mascot is representative of their community. And what I hear a lot of in a lot of different, shall we say progressive or regressive, depending on your, political ideologies, is that they want more representation in pop culture. Well, I don't think you get more representative than having, 200-pound people slam into each other and fight over a piece of leather.
Right. In the most popular sport in America, they have a team, a fairly popular team at that. There's a lot of Washington fans out there. And if we got rid of that name, I feel like we wouldn't forget about the Native Americans, but it would take away from their recognition in history. I mean, what else are you going to call it? If you don't call it Redskins, and you have to like change the name completely, I don't think it would be
the Washington Native Americans.
No, come on.
It's got a good ring to it. I could see the merchandise right now, but they have to
slam me over the head with a sledgehammer.
They have to change the logo though. It can't be, the tribal headgear or any of that. It has to be like a trailer on a reservation, next to a casino.
Right, and then right next to it, a bunch of people with money that are passed out.
Because you can't point to the positive representation of a culture, even if it's stereotypical. You can't, it's because it's stereotypical that you can't point to it. What you need to do is you need to point to the reality of it. You need to make it, alcoholism and gambling addictions, because then you're pointing out the real issues in the community. So, you're raising awareness, public awareness. It's an excellent idea, if you ask me.
Well, I'm not going to argue with that one, Mr. Host. I'm not going to argue with that
the
one.
Washington Pachengas.
The Indians, I mean, Cleveland has the Cleveland Indians. So Washington Indians may not be that far off, but Washington Redskins has a crazy traditional...
Yeah, well, nobody cares about Cleveland anyways.
In itself. The Washington Redskins have a culture within itself, especially in the 90s when they went to the Super Bowls against the Dallas Cowboys. Or they went in the 90s. They had some good teams. They're dog shit now, but
kind of like the Buccaneers. Just throw that out there.
Yeah, or Cleveland.
Oh, Cleveland. Well, I think that brings us to our next thing. We've said a lot of potentially hate inciting things already tonight. Not our intention, but it just happens. I think it's because we're white. YouTube will be, we record.
We're just showing our
via
white
YouTube
privilege.
Live. We record via YouTube Live.
Excuse me. Your white privilege is showing. Okay.
I need to, as I said to Arnold, I just need the card.
I have the best
privilege point card. I gotta stop saying
we have the best. Tremendous.
So, I'm sure Travis will edit that one out for me.
Wink, wink.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Pinch, pinch. Punch, punch.
Yes'm.
Okay. So, YouTube is implementing a filter for extremist content. What they consider to be extremist, who knows? Google is notoriously, quote, progressive unquote company. So what they consider extremist might be one thing or another. They haven't really done too much in the way of preventing certain things from spreading. But the thing that happened in London with the what was it? Guy ran over a bunch of people. Was it with a bus, a truck? I've been trying to avoid that one, using my privilege to.
Well, there's been a couple in London recently. There was the bombing. There was the guy that
No, I'm talking about
there was the
the
Muslims
white.
that ran over the white people and the white person that ran over the Muslims.
So basically, when the white people ran over the Muslims, it upset Google, and they're like, "Well, we need to stop all this extremist stuff
Oh, come the fuck on, Google.
because now the wrong people are getting hurt. So we need to just acknowledge that people are getting hurt in general, and we need to do something about it. But we're already doing stuff about it, but we need to do more. So we need to make robots, and we need to hire more people to screen the content and make sure it's appropriate. We need to prevent ads from popping up on unsavory videos. And we need to censor everything and anything we can to make the internet a safe space. And it's their company. It's their company. They can do it. I don't think, from a business standpoint, it's a good idea for getting more creators, but it's a good idea for public image.
Yeah, but it's a company that has a fucking monopoly on search engines.
Yeah.
Pretty much. So they get to dictate the fucking narrative of the course of
anyone that's been on Xbox
everything.
Live in the past, 7 to 10 years realizes that Microsoft don't give a shit what you say, as long as you don't use the N-word. So,
yeah, have you ever been told by a 6-year-old that he's had sex with your mom?
Numerous times. If you haven't, you have not been on Xbox Live or even PlayStation Network, but I doubt Sony wants to monopolize the search engine market. They don't really have a stranglehold on computers right now.
No, they couldn't. Nobody else could monopolize the search engine market. There's nobody else that could.
Where that becomes relevant to us is, every time we've got guests on, we're always talking about something that society doesn't want to talk about. If it's race relations, if it's the Kekistani refugees who are flooding into Ancapistan, if it's me talking about ICE, maybe I'm talking about ICE, and now that's a key word because of the people that are posing as ICE and scaring Mexicans. I just said ICE though, and the robots are going to filter that out because I said ICE. That's more of a conspiracy theory of it, but I think it holds some ground in that we've seen overreactions. We saw overreactions on Facebook when they were doing and they denied it, but it was proven that they were censoring, right-wing publications. They did it when they started screening the news, and because Google's going to do it on, YouTube, which is their biggest platform for everyday people having a voice, it's potentially scary for the First Amendment. I see good in it. I see why they're doing it. I'm kind of glad they're doing it, but I can see where it might go wrong if abused. And I don't have any doubts that it will be abused. I think with almost, absolute certainty, it will be abused. There will be moderators that are going over things and using their own bias to determine what is or isn't prioritized in search results on YouTube.
And that's the narrative right now, is that they're trying to shut down speech that they don't like and calling it hate speech. And they're trying to protect.
In all fairness,
they're trying to protect the people that
hate on people.
Not really.
Well, that's the narrative.
They're going to try and shut down anything that might piss somebody off.
It's a safe
from
space.
The very vocal minority on the left that there's not too many of them out there, but they make a lot of noise, and so they're going to cater to them and the people up there in Silicon Valley where you tend to have circle jerks with.
Well, here's the thing: is it's going to backfire. When they get out of line, it's going to backfire. As far as right now, I'm not sure when they're implementing it. I'm not sure if they already have, but it's not visible right now. But if abuse becomes visible, and it will, because there are a lot of bigger names on YouTube that are not friendly. Filthy Frank, iDubbbz TV, especially Filthy Frank again, PewDiePie. You know, these bigger names on YouTube are already going for a more edgy appearance. So they're already going for the edge factor.
Whoa.
Just had to bring out the prop for all of the people listening on iTunes who can't see what the prop is. It makes it more enjoyable for me to fool around with it when I mention PewDiePie, because one of our minis we did last week may have had something to do with said prop and PewDiePie days before it confirmed.
Oh, so, yeah? And what was that?
It was Jake Lloyd of the Daily Lion and I were doing a mini, and I mentioned that PewDiePie would shill to fidget spinners. Which,
what do you mean by that?
Oh, trends. The way trends pick up, and fidget spinners have become a trend. PewDiePie has to regain his glory with trends. I'm not sure what I said on the show. I was pretty tired when I did it, but yeah, I think I've successfully bird walked though, and it was a beautiful bird walk. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get us back on track. I'm going to spin us right back on track. We're doomed.
Like a Pepe spinner.
Did you get green on purpose? I did, but not for the reason you think. I just like the color.
You like hugging trees then.
But I'll put some googly eyes on it for you before I throw it out the window into the trash. Puddle jumpers in Phoenix grounded due to heat. In Phoenix, Arizona, they are experiencing record highs. Temperatures have reached 120, setting new heat records for this time of year. And unfortunately, the smaller aircraft, their max operating temperature is 118. So I think 30 flights have been grounded in Phoenix.
Oh my God, it's so hot right now.
Yeah, and it's it's 10 degrees hotter there. So maybe you need to get out of your privilege room,
my cool,
and go back to the garage.
Bakersfield. Actually, it was only, well, if it was 121 there and it was 10 degrees less. 120. So it was 9 degrees less, and actually I clocked a 112 on the way home after driving for a while. And my truck was not parked in the sun. And all you people posting temperature photos in your car that have been sitting in the sun all day long, and it says 108, but when you start driving, it goes down to 97. Just shut your fucking mouth. How about that? How about that?
How about that?
How about that?
Cash me outside
and get a sunburn. How about that?
Cash me outside with my truck parked in the shade so I get accurate temperature readings. How about that?
It's parked indoors.
That's not as catchy. Well, indoors can obscure the heat too. Your garage might even be hotter just because of the stagnant air, the smell of Cheetos, and Colt 45 and 2 zigzags. Because baby, that's how we roll.
It's gonna be a doobie.
It's gonna be a doobie. I mean doozy.
So I've been working today. Yeah, I've been working today. I've been working somewhere, and it's really hot out here, and well, if that's what you want to call it. I show up and sweat.
Damn, Skippy.
So it's really hot. We're in the middle of a goddamn heat wave right now, and I'll be damned if I wouldn't want to comment on it. And I think it's funny that they don't have the puddle jumpers come off, but the normal planes can handle it.
Well, it's because the puddle jumpers are smaller aircraft that are a lot older. We're not talking like I'm trying to. Are they what CRJ? Uh, what's the designation of these aircrafts? They're like they're basically CRJ 700s. I'm not sure what the designation is, but it's basically what they are. If you've ever been on one, you know it because it was probably an 8-hour flight and your neck was probably at some weird angle the entire time because you got a window seat thinking you were going to be all cool, and then you realize you're in a little fucking tube flying at 200 miles an hour or 300
Well,
miles,
that's
whatever
actually
speed.
where I met my wife.
Oh, in the bathroom of a CRJ 700?
Yeah, she was in there passed out, and I said, "Hey, here's my opportunity."
Quaaludes are a bitch. What can I
No,
say?
well, I didn't meet her on
Oh,
air,
this
but she
isn't
was working
a
as
scheduled
an
topic.
airline attendant when I met her, and she did a lot of these puddle jumpers from here to Utah, from here to Utah to Phoenix and stuff like that. And I used to fly for free with her.
Well, she wouldn't be doing a flight to Phoenix right now.
No, she wouldn't.
Um,
Actually, those stupid airplanes is what caused her to not keep working for them because the the electronics went out one time and they had to land the
they flew
plane
blind.
manually.
Yeah, they were flying blind probably. Ooh, that's bad. Someone probably didn't turn off their cell phone is what it was.
I doubt it. That's fake news.
But did they have their tray tables up and their seat back in the
Yeah.
full upright
Oh yeah.
position?
It
Have
was
your
a cell
tray
phone.
tables up and your seat back in the full upright position in Albuquerque.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, that song is legendary. Anyone listening that has never heard Albuquerque by Weird Al Yankovic or
I've never heard that
Yankovic,
song before.
it's a great song. It's like 13 minutes long. It's terrible but great. So Bill Cosby was it was a mistrial. So for now, he's innocent until proven guilty. Again, turns out one of the witnesses had falsified their statements. So
Yeah, well,
the
there's still
Cosby,
60 others, and so he's going to be in trial for the rest of his life.
yeah, most likely, but you know, it is pretty damning for a case to have a key witness turn out to be faking it. Certainly hurt the prosecution. Get off your phone, child.
Nope, we're about done here, aren't we?
We might extend it because we've got the Supreme Court. Unless you want to do that on another episode, save that one for when all 4 guests that weren't on today.
Well, my one kid's not doing a good job of taking care of my other kid right now, so
Yeah, it works. Well, we'll save it then. Oh, you gonna edit that stuff out, or are we gonna leave it in so that all the listeners can hear just how disorganized we are?
I'm going to edit that part out.
I'm gonna edit your face out. Real talk.
Edit your face out, honky.
I prefer cracker.
Freaking white boy.
Play that funky music, white boy. Lay down it. No. Yeah, we'll do the Supreme Court on another episode. I'll just do fancy outro. You can make it sound good.
Well, I mean, the gerrymandering part.
Well, it's not. It's a Supreme Court will deliberate. We can always hit it when Supreme Court does deliberate.
Okay.
That's 12 hours ago that was released, so it's still pretty fresh, and we've got plenty of time to ride on its coattails.
Ooh, so coming up.
Yeah, it can be another. We can hell with an issue like that. We can bring OG Tim on. We can bring on my Sean. We can we can get Jake in on that one too.
What the fuck is going on out there?
Well, here we'll just get all of our left wing and right wing guys on, have a clusterfuck of argument. But in the meantime, and this has been another Mercury's Cast. Thanks again, Travis, for showing up today. Always glad to have you on my show.
You're welcome, man. Hey, anytime, just let me know.
I just want you to, for all of our listeners out there, you can check out Mercury's cast, which is Travis's show. I'm occasionally on that one as well. It's a great show. Check it out on Facebook. Give them a like and a share. And this has been another Alexander cast.
Mercury's cast.
Oh, has it been? I was unaware.
Hey,
Well,
call it.
To everyone that listened through all this, just want to say thanks. Share the good news. Go door to door. Act like the Jehovah's Witnesses and spread the word. We need at least 2 more viewers to hit that 15 viewer mark.
And on that note, free Kekistan.
Nah, and Capistan all the way.
Free Kekistan.
And Capistan lives matter.
Free Pepe.
Pepe's already free. He died.
That's not.
And then came back 3 days later.
Not funny.
Nah, but he did.
You're lying to me.
I'm not. After the show.
That's fake news.
I'll send you a link.
All right.
It isn't
On that
fake
note,
news.
see you later. Bye. Free Kekistan.
Fake news.